Every weekend, a new financial trend promises to turn your spare time into a lucrative empire. Dropshipping, crypto trading bots, automated faceless channels, these pitches flood your feed with ascending trend lines and promises of effortless cash. But if you've ever tried to spin one of these up on a Sunday afternoon, you already know the reality. The startup capital vanishes, the algorithm shifts, and you're left burned, with fewer hours and less money than when you started. Before I made YouTube videos, I was an investment banker, and the one thing you learn watching capital move at scale is that the most reliable income streams on the planet are usually incredibly boring. We aren't going to build an overnight unicorn. Our objective is much more pragmatic, constructing a highly reliable secondary income stream that actually deposits £1,000 a month into a UK bank account. To achieve that kind of highly predictable monthly cash flow, we have to make a deliberate choice. We have to completely abandon the fantasy of passive, overnight scale. The alternative is delivering unsexy, business-to-business services. We are talking about freelance bookkeeping, virtual administration, or basic spreadsheet management. Flashy consumer-facing hustles require you to convince skeptical individuals to buy a product they didn't wake up wanting. B2B services, on the other hand, plug directly into the existing, pre-approved operational budgets of established companies. Let's look at this comparison table to evaluate these two paths using a strict ROI framework. We'll measure them across three metrics: capital risk, time to revenue, and success probability. With B2B services, your capital risk drops to near zero because you are simply selling your time, while your success probability remains high. Compare that to viral hustles, which require high upfront capital to test ads or buy inventory, while carrying a notoriously low probability of success. If you treat your weekend hours as an investment portfolio, basic risk management dictates the next step. You choose the asset with the highest mathematical probability of success over a theoretical, highly unlikely yield. But choosing reliability comes with a heavy cost. These unsexy services demand sheer, relentless human effort to launch and maintain. This chart plots out where different side businesses land when we measure the predictability of making £1,000 a month on the vertical axis against the effort required to launch and run them on the horizontal axis. Trendy consumer hustles usually scatter across the bottom. Whether they take low effort or high effort, their high failure variance keeps firmly locked in the low predictability zone. Boring B2B services map differently. They lock firmly into the extreme top right corner. You get high predictability, but it demands maximum effort. Operationally, this means you secure predictable monthly retainers from clients. But it severely restricts your ability to scale. You are literally trading your hours for their dollars. A reliable, high-probability side hustle is not a passive asset. It is a literal second job. To manage this second job effectively, we use a strategy known as the portfolio career. A portfolio career is a working style where you treat your different streams of income as a diversified portfolio of your own professional skills. The most common amateur mistake is burning through your limited weekend hours trying to learn a brand new, supposedly marketable skill from scratch, entirely because a YouTuber said it was trending. The boring, effective strategy is to directly lift the exact skills that you already use Monday through Friday in your corporate job and repackage them for freelance clients. Doing this drastically compresses your time to first revenue. Instead of spending 6 months learning how to code, you spend 2 weeks selling the corporate administration skills you already possess. The trade-off is heavy. Executing the exact same professional tasks 7 days a week strips away any sense of novelty. If you already resent your primary career, this strategy will heavily accelerate your risk of burnout. Achieving rapid speed to market means you have to sacrifice the psychological excitement of starting a completely different venture. Knowing the strategy is easy. The severe psychological hurdle is actually sitting down to work on a Saturday morning when you are already physically exhausted from a 50-hour work week. To bypass this analysis paralysis, you need to use the implementation intention method. Implementation intention is a psychological framework where you make a predetermined plan specifying the exact trigger and conditions for when you will act on a goal. In practice, this means strictly pre-scheduling the exact time, the physical location, and the specific microtask for your business setup before the weekend even begins. Instead of writing a vague, sprawling note that says, "work on business," you lock in 3 tight calendar blocks that dictate exactly what spreadsheet you will be building at 9 a.m. Executing this requires militaristic personal discipline. It means the complete sacrifice of spontaneous weekend leisure time. Overcoming that initial barrier to entry means treating a Saturday morning session with the exact same unyielding rigidity as a Tuesday morning corporate meeting. To recap the input required for the boring wealth path, you must leverage your existing skills, execute rigid weekend scheduling, and accept capped, unglamorous hourly labor. The output is achieving a highly stable, future-proofed financial buffer of £1,000 a month. There are dreamers in the audience who will find this entirely unappealing. These are people who prioritize passive scale and exponential wealth over steady, predictable income. Opting out of the B2B path to chase highly scalable tech products or massive media channels successfully maintains your theoretical ceiling for massive wealth. But the penalty for that choice is stark. You must accept a near zero probability of generating any immediate, reliable monthly cash flow. You cannot have both. You must deliberately choose between the pursuit of infinite scale and the reality of guaranteed cash flow. Making this final decision comes down to your current risk profile, your available capital, and how time-poor you actually are. If we look at this decision matrix, we can see exactly who should take the boring wealth path. It maps the time-poor professional and the scale optimizer to their respective logical strategies. If you are a time-poor professional or someone who has been burned by the hype, your path isolates directly to the unsexy B2B portfolio career. For this specific demographic, trading glamour for certainty is the mathematically correct move. The most reliable investment a professional can make this weekend isn't buying into a flashy new trend. It is systematically monetizing the boring skills you already possess.